Hello students, let's continue with the audio compression module. In the last module, we have seen temporal masking, spectral masking, and how human properties, we try to take the advantage of human ear properties to compress the sound. So lossy sound compression, lossy sound, the moment we say lossy, that means we will try to find out some things which can be eliminated from the sound samples, and definitely it will not discard or it will not affect the quality of that sound. So it takes the advantage of our perception of a sound and discard the data to which human ear is not sensitive. So there are two approaches in which this can be done. One is a silence compression, another is a compounding. Now there are two ways in which you can achieve the compression. So definitely in the silence compression, again you have a number of ways, whereas compounding also you have number of ways to do. What is a silence compression? The principle of silence compression is to treat small samples as if they were silence, that is a sample of zero, that it doesn't have any audio in it. So this generates a run length of zero. So silence compression is actually a variant of RLE, that is a run length coding. So I hope you remember what is a run length coding. We have seen one animation of run length coding for mostly it is used for image compression. So when I say that treat the small samples, that means you have to decide a certain threshold value. So when you get a song, when you convert into a digital format, when you run through a particular software, what you have is all values, all integer values. So you decide that this particular threshold I will be keeping. So all the values below that threshold will be treated as zero. So we are saying that that is the minimum threshold value which the human ear can hear, or all the age group people can hear. So below that particular value, you are saying that the sound cannot be heard. So you decide that threshold value, and below that value all the samples are treated zero. So now you find out how many values of zero are there. How many number of zeros you can count. So normally in this case there are two parameters which are decided. One is a threshold value below which all samples are zero, and what is the maximum number of length you can run. So I can say 15 runs of 0, then small value, 3 runs of 0, then the small value. So there are two parameters which are decided here. It uses the fact that some people have less sensitive hearing than the others and will tolerate the loss of sound that is so quiet they may not hear it anyway. Okay, so we are saying that we are taking advantage of people who are having a less sensitive hearing. So even if that particular sound I delete, they will not come to know, or they will not object. Compounding. Why do we go for a compounding, or what is a compounding? So the data rate is important in telecommunication because it is directly proportional to the cost of transmitting signal. Definitely, we are all dealing with a data pack. We are all buying the data pack which gives us the maximum rate. So what are we going to try? So if you are saving a bit there, you are saving money. So compounding is a common technique which can reduce the data rate of audio signal by making the quantization level unequal. Now here I am the provider which is going to give your data. So what I am trying to say, I am trying to find out whether a huge data can be represented with a smaller number of bits and it will not affect the quality also. One way is possible that you do a quantization. We saw that when your original analog input is converted into a digital, quantization is one more important process with which you will be doing this. So now we are trying to find out if we make quantization level unequal, then what is the effect of that procedure on the compression. So there are only about 120 different loudness level that can be detected, spaced logarithmically over an amplitude range of 1 million. So we have so many loudness level, and all this work have been done in the literature, and we are going to just take help of all these things. So compounding uses the fact that ear requires more precise sample at low amplitude. When I say low amplitude, that means whatever is spoken to you in a whisper, you want to hear everything detail of it. You will not be able, you will not have the same meaning if you miss out certain portion. Whereas it is more forgiving at higher amplitude. So compression will be using method compounding to examine every sample in the sound file and employs a non-linear formula to reduce the number of bits devoted to. So what does it mean? Wherever you have low amplitude, wherever you have low sound, you want every tiny details of it. Whereas you can miss out certain portions at a higher amplitude level. So compounding is going to do the same thing for you. For 16-bit sample, we are talking about the analog input is converted into a digital, and you have done that with the 16-bit sample. So for example, a compounding encoder may use a formula as simple as this to reduce each sample. So what are you going to do? You are going to give a 16-bit sample here, which will be divided by 65,536, 2 raised to 2 that value minus 1. This formula maps the 16-bit samples non-linearly to 15 bits number. So all your 15 bits number will come into the range of 0 to 32,767. If you implement this formula, non-linear formula, you will observe that small samples are less affected than large ones. For example, when I take a sample of 100, if I use this formula on 100, it gets mapped to 35. When I use 200, it gets mapped to 69. When I go for 1000, it gets mapped to 348. When I go for 1100, it gets mapped to 383. So you see the difference from 100 to 200. The difference between the mapped value is 34. Whereas when I go on increasing, where I have a 16-bit sample as 65,536, if I talk in terms of 60,000 and 60,100, you will see the difference between these two samples is 65. So what is the aim here? The smaller sample will not have, the smaller samples will be less affected by this formula, whereas your larger sample will be more affected. Why are we doing this? Because we are saying that smaller samples, a human ear is more sensitive towards this lower amplitude than the higher amplitude. So we can tolerate much loss in the higher amplitude. How do you implement a compounding? Of course, there is a procedure. You have circuits there. First thing is you will be converting your analog signal into a digital. So you run the analog signal through a nonlinear circuit before giving it to the digital ADC, that is analog to digital converter. Then you go for an analog to digital coder which has unequally spaced. Remember that this we are all doing it a non-linear thing because we want to conserve smaller amplitude as it is, and a higher amplitude we can tolerate a certain loss. We are using a linear 12-bit ADC followed by a digital lookup table. So each of these options requires the same non-linearity. We are doing a compounding with two laws which are there. So I think you must have heard these laws before, A law also and mu law. So mu law encoding is a form of logarithmic quantization or a compounding. It is used in North America and Japan, and it use mostly quality codecs use mu law encoded sample. So what is a characteristic of mu law? It receives 14-bit signed input sample. Now when I say signed, that means it will have either a positive value or a negative value. The mu law encoder inputs this 14-bit to convert it into 8-bit code words. So now when I say sign, so the input will be in the range of -8 192 to +8 191. Sample will be normalized in the range of -1 to +1, and you can use this logarithmic expression where mu is your value which will decide the quality of your compounding. So if you see here, if mu is 25, mu is 2055 and the mu is 255. So normally the value of mu is 255. Now how are we going to do it, or what are the different steps which are there? So encoder will determine the segment code. So you have this as your code word. When the mu law works, you will be giving your input and the output will be in this format. So what is this output format? P will be reserved for a sign bit. S2, S1, S0 are called as segment code. Q3, Q2, Q1 and Q0 are called as a quantization code. So how do we find out these values? The segment code is calculated by adding 33 to the absolute value of input sample. So you take any input value and you add 33 to it. Determine the bit position of the most significant one bit among the bit 5 through the 12 bits of the input. So you place your input value and find out where is your MSB from bit number 5 to bit number 12. whatever position you get, you subtract 5 from that position, will give you a segment code. Suppose we have taken an example of minus 656. So minus represent your polarity. So you put minus here. Now you convert this 656 into a digital value and find out your MSB. So I think the MSB position is 9 because segment code I can see here is 4. And remaining after the position, whatever is remaining, that is your quantization code. Decoder also, you have steps: multiply the quantization code by 2, add 33 to the result, multiply this result by 2 raised to the power of segment code, and decrement the result by the bias, and finally use p bit to determine the sign. Don't worry, we are going to solve the problems when we will be having this particular lecture. So A law, it is similar to the mu law expression. How does encoding of A law has a different procedure? The rules has been specified. It will also generate the 8-bit code word with the same format. That means P is a sign bit, then you have segment code, and then you have quantization code. So it determines the segment code. It determines the position of MSB again among the 7 most significant bits of the input. If 1 bit is found, the segment code becomes that position minus 4. Otherwise, the segment code becomes 0. So the things are very clear here. If you are not able to find out 1 bit, the segment code is 0. If the segment bit, MSB 1 bit is there, then that position minus 4. A 4-bit quantization code is set to the 4 bits following the bit position determined in step 1. So if you don't find that, then half the input value of the segment code is 0, definitely. The encoder ignores the remaining bit of the input sample. It inverts the bit P and even numbered bits of the code word before its output. So A law encoding, if you see, a bit more complicated and there are more steps involved. Decoding steps also, it inverts the P bit, even numbered bits, because whatever you have done at the encoding, you have to do the reverse for the decoding. So in there you have inverted the even numbered and the P. So you are doing the invert procedure again here. If the segment code is non-zero, the decoder multiplies the quantization code by 2, increment it with the bias 33. Multiply the result by 2, raise the power to the segment code minus 1. Segment code is 0, the decoder output twice the quantization code, because there you have, if you remember, you have done the half procedure. So here you are going to do the twice operation. Bit P is then used to determine the sign of the output. A law and mu law, a slight comparison here. Both method compresses the in terms of 2:1 ratio. Mu law has a larger dynamic range compared to your A law. Mu law has a worse distortion with small signals compared to A law, and mu law is used in North America and Japan, while A law is commonly used in Europe. So in this lecture we saw what is the silence compression, what is the compounding, what are the different laws are there which help you in doing the compounding, what is the encoding procedure, what is the decoding procedure. So if you talk about a question paper or a university question paper, sometimes mu law and A law problems come for 5 marks or 10 marks. So I hope you have, we will be solving the problems with at least one problem from mu law, one problem from A law, which will which will help us to understand all those steps or instructions more clearly. How to find out the MSB bit, how to count the bit number position, and we can also find out when we are using mu law whether it is really true if we give a small input value. After decoding, what is the difference between the original value and the decoded value, and what happens when we give a higher input value. Same thing we can find out with using A law also. Both the input value can be given to mu law and A law, and we can find out the difference between original and the decoded values again. So we will stop here for today's this particular video. Next time we can start with the actual audio compression. These are all basic which are required, which are used in the compression or your MPEG standard. So thank you.